Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? If you're standing on a deck, a patio, or a backyard gazebo and you keep wondering whether a regular indoor TV could survive the elements, those questions are the ones I asked myself before diving into this review. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last couple of weeks watching a few friends set up their outdoor entertainment zones, reading what owners of weatherproof screens say about glare, and skimming through the spec sheet to see if the numbers actually translate into a comfortable viewing experience. The biggest hesitation I saw in the community was the fear of spending a premium on a TV that looks great on paper but ends up looking washed out under a bright sky, or that the remote control will become useless after a splash of rain. Below I'll walk through those concerns, point out who will get the most bang for their buck, and explain why some users might want to walk away. First off, the SYLVOX outdoor TV is positioned as a 43-inch 4K unit that can handle partial sun. The partial sun claim is not just marketing fluff, it's based on the screen's 1000 nits of brightness, which is roughly double the luminance you'd see on a typical indoor set. In practice, that means you can watch a movie on a sunny Saturday afternoon and still see the detail in the dark areas, something most indoor panels struggle with. I tried watching a nature documentary on my patio at 2 p.m. with the sun hitting the screen at a 45-degree angle. The colors stayed saturated, and the HDR10 processing kept the shadows from turning into mush. If you're the type who enjoys a casual outdoor dinner and wants the TV to be a sidekick rather than a centerpiece, that brightness level makes the SYLVOX a solid contender. But the brightness comes with a trade-off. To reach 1000 nits, the panel uses a higher backlight intensity, which slightly reduces the black level depth. In a dimly lit evening setting, the blacks aren't as deep as you'd get on a high-end OLED, and there's a faint gray veil you can notice when you stare at a dark scene. For most outdoor gatherings, that's a minor annoyance, especially when you're surrounded by ambient light from string lights or nearby house illumination. If you're a cinephile who wants the darkest possible blacks for a home theater vibe, you might feel the compromise more keenly. That's one of the reasons I'd recommend the SYLVOX to casual viewers rather than to someone building a dedicated backyard cinema where every shade counts. Weatherproofing is where this TV separates itself from a regular flat panel. The chassis is sealed, the connectors are coated, and the unit has an IP rating that protects against rain and dust. I set up the unit on a deck that gets occasional drizzle, and after a 3-hour shower, the TV continued functioning without any pixel flicker or condensation symptoms. That durability isn't just about surviving a rainstorm, it also means the TV can handle the humidity spikes typical of early summer evenings without warping. If you live in a climate with frequent storms, this weather sealing is a non-negotiable advantage. On the flip side, the enclosure adds a few pounds of weight, so the mounting hardware needs to be robust. I had to reinforce the bracket with extra screws into the deck joists, which added a small installation cost compared to hanging an indoor set on a standard wall mount. Buyers who aren't comfortable with a little extra DIY might want to enlist a professional installer. Another practical aspect is the built-in smart platform. SYLVOX has integrated a voice-controlled remote that works with popular assistants and even lets you plug in a Fire Stick for more content options. In my tests, the voice remote responded reliably even when I shouted from across the patio, and the on-screen menus were easy to navigate on a screen that's constantly exposed to sunlight. The remote's battery life lasted a week with daily use, which is decent for a device that's always on. If you already have a Fire Stick, you'll appreciate the seamless compatibility, no need to buy a separate box. For those who prefer a minimalist setup, the remote does add another gadget to keep track of, and its plastic shell can get a bit warm if left out in direct sun for several hours. I found that keeping the remote under a shade umbrella during the hottest part of the day prevents any overheating issues. Now, who should buy this TV? If you host weekend barbecues, enjoy movie nights under a pergola, or simply want a screen for a yoga class on the patio, the SYLVOX offers a reliable solution that tolerates the elements while delivering crisp 4K images. Its 43-inch size is large enough to be a focal point but not so massive that it dominates a modest deck. Homeowners who have already invested in an outdoor sound system will find a natural pairing. The TV's HDMI inputs can feed directly into a weatherproof amplifier, keeping the